The UK's cinemas aren't just home to films, but to restless spirits and chilling tales. Here are 15 haunted cinemas where eerie happenings will send shivers down your spine. 1. The Picture House Cinema, Keighley. The Picture House Cinema in Keighley is not just a place for movies, it's also a site for one of the most tragic ghost stories. In the early 1900s, a young woman fell to her death from the upper balcony during an intense argument with her boyfriend. This horrifying incident is said to have left behind a lingering presence. Employees have reported hearing fire escape doors creaking open and slamming shut, despite being securely locked. The eerie sounds happen even when the cinema is empty, leading many to believe that the woman's restless spirit still roams the building, endlessly replaying the moment of her tragic fall. Security checks have never found anyone near the doors, but the chilling phenomenon persists. Witnesses claim they feel an overwhelming sadness in the air, and some even swear they've seen the ghostly figure of a woman standing near the balcony just moments before vanishing. The cinema has since earned its reputation as one of the most haunted places in Keighley. Guests have reported feeling an uncomfortable presence when sitting in the upper rows as though being watched by unseen eyes. 2. Moray Playhouse, Scotland. Moray Playhouse in Scotland is a historic cinema with a long-standing ghost story that has intrigued staff and visitors alike. The most disturbing account comes from the theatre's general manager, Stephen Bisky, who once witnessed strange shadows darting across the building when no one was around. Staff frequently report hearing whispers, faint and indistinct, echoing through empty hallways. The eerie sounds seem to emanate from the dark corners of the cinema, especially near the old projection room. Others have felt sudden drops in temperature, as though an unseen presence is close by. The cinema's history suggests that these strange occurrences could be tied to an unexplained tragedy that occurred many years ago. Though no one knows exactly what happened, it is believed that the building's supernatural happenings are connected to a death that was never fully resolved. The spirit of the deceased is said to linger, creating an unsettling atmosphere that makes many too nervous to work alone at night. Guests sometimes report being followed by an unseen force, which only intensifies when they walk toward the cinema's old balcony. Some say the ghost's presence becomes stronger on stormy nights, adding a foreboding atmosphere to any film screening. 3. Odeon Cinema, Bristol. The Odeon Cinema in Bristol carries with it a dark and tragic history, one that continues to haunt the cinema to this day. Many years ago, a former manager was found dead under mysterious circumstances. The murder was never solved, and some believe that the spirit of the murderer, Billy the Fish Fisher, still roams the building. Staff members often report hearing strange sounds coming from the manager's old office, particularly late at night. Some claim to have seen fleeting shadows near the office door, and on occasion, strange disturbances have occurred in the projection room as though someone were tampering with the equipment. Witnesses also describe feelings of unease, particularly around the areas where the crime is believed to have taken place. The ghost of Billy Fisher is said to appear as a dark, menacing figure, lingering in the shadows and watching the cinema's visitors from a distance. With no answers to the mystery of the murder, many believe that Billy's restless spirit is forever trapped in the cinema, unable to move on. Over the years, several visitors have reported hearing a faint voice calling their name, though no one is ever seen. The chilling sensation of being watched lingers long after the last credits roll. 4. Odeon Cinema, Brighton. The Odeon Cinema in Brighton is known for its haunting tale, tied to its construction. During the building of the cinema, a worker named George tragically fell to his death from a great height. His spirit is believed to haunt the cinema, unable to move on from the tragic accident. Over the years, staff members have reported hearing footsteps echoing through empty halls at night, accompanied by flickering lights and creaking doors, particularly near the projection room. Late-night workers describe an overwhelming sensation of being watched, as if George's ghost is still present, wandering the cinema. Some have witnessed a shadowy figure near the balcony where he fell, only for it to vanish before their eyes. It's said that George's spirit remains trapped in the cinema, bound to the spot of his untimely end. Visitors sometimes feel uneasy sitting near the upper balcony, especially during stormy nights when the wind amplifies the unsettling sounds. 5. Scott Cinema, Barnstaple. The Scott Cinema in Barnstaple, built in the 1930s, has a history of paranormal activity that has puzzled both staff and patrons for years. The most chilling legend surrounding the cinema involves the ghost of a worker who tragically fell to his death while making repairs to the building. It is said that the worker's spirit still lingers, haunting the cinema where he met his tragic fate. Workers who maintain the building often report strange sensations of being watched, and sometimes the sounds of footsteps can be heard from above, despite no one being there. Cold spots have been felt in various parts of the building, particularly near the upper levels where the worker fell. It is believed that his spirit is forever bound to the place of his death, wandering the halls as if reliving the fatal moment. The atmosphere in the cinema shifts dramatically at night, with many employees reporting feelings of unease and even hearing the faint sound of tools being dropped or moved, as though the worker is still trying to complete his job. 6. Coronet Cinema, London. The Coronet Cinema in London has a haunting story that dates back to the early 20th century. Originally a grand theatre, it was transformed into a cinema in 1923. The cinema is believed to be haunted by the spirit of a former cashier who was accused of stealing money from the cinema and was allegedly killed in a violent confrontation. Staff members who work late often report cold drafts near the cashier's old post, and many believe the spirit of the cashier still wanders the building, seeking justice for her untimely death. Some claim to have seen her ghostly figure walking through the lobby, dressed in period clothing, with her face obscured by a veil. Others describe hearing faint whispers and the sound of footsteps following them, even when no one else is around. The unsettling atmosphere around the old cashier's desk has led many to believe that the spirit has never left, trapped in the place where her life was tragically cut short. 7. Cineworld, Bedford. Cineworld, Bedford is known for its eerie atmosphere and unsettling presence, particularly the spirit of a monk that is said to haunt the building. The figure, often seen wearing a hooded robe, is believed to be the ghost of a monk who once lived in the area. Staff and visitors report feeling an odd chill whenever the monk's spirit appears. Some have even seen him walking through the cinema's halls, his figure barely visible in the shadows. Others claim to hear faint chanting in the distance, coming from the direction of the old projection room. The monk's death is shrouded in mystery, with no clear explanation as to why his spirit lingers in the cinema. The building is said to hold a strange energy, and those who have worked there late at night often feel an overwhelming sense of dread. Some even believe that the monk is still guarding something, as if waiting for someone to uncover a long-forgotten secret hidden within the cinema. 8. The Electric Cinema, Birmingham. The Electric Cinema in Birmingham has long been considered one of the most haunted cinemas in the city. It is said to be haunted by the spirit of its former owner, a woman who ran the cinema for many years before passing away. Her ghost is often seen wandering the lobby or standing at the back of the theatre, watching the films. Staff members have reported cold drafts and strange sensations of being watched, especially when the cinema is empty. Some even claim to have heard her voice, faintly whispering as if calling for attention. The cinema's eerie energy only seems to increase when the lights go out, and many visitors have reported seeing her shadowy figure moving among the seats. Despite her passing, it seems that her spirit has remained, still keeping a watchful eye over the cinema that she once loved. The electric cinema's ghostly presence is now part of the building's charm, adding a layer of mystery to its historic legacy. 9. The Regent Cinema, Redcar. The Regent Cinema in Redcar is haunted by the spirit of a man who died in 1952, and his ghost is believed to still roam the building to this day. Staff members often hear the sound of footsteps echoing through empty hallways, and many describe the sensation of being followed, especially when walking near the projection room. Others have reported seeing a figure standing in the shadows near the balcony, dressed in a suit from the 1950s. Some claim that the man's ghost lingers in the cinema, forever trapped in the place where he passed away. The most unsettling experiences tend to happen late at night, when the cinema is empty, and many have felt a sudden drop in temperature when walking through the corridors. The man's ghost is said to be a quiet, watchful presence, never causing harm but always there, reminding visitors of the building's eerie history. 10. The Tyne Theatre, Newcastle-upon-Tyne. The Tyne Theatre, a historic venue in Newcastle, is known for being one of the most haunted locations in the city. The spirit of a former actor who tragically died during a performance is said to haunt the building. Staff have reported hearing the sound of footsteps in the darkened corridors, as though someone is rehearsing for a performance. Others claim to have seen the actor's ghostly figure in the wings, practicing his lines or movements. The theatre has long been a place of entertainment, but the actor's tragic death has left an indelible mark on the building. Some believe that the actor's spirit is still trying to complete the performance he never finished, forever trapped in the theatre. Those who work there late often feel an overwhelming sense of unease, as if they are not alone in the shadows. 11. The Lighthouse Cinema, Dublin, Ireland. The Lighthouse Cinema in Dublin is believed to be haunted by the spirit of a former employee who passed away unexpectedly. Staff members who work late at night often feel a strange presence near the projection room, where mechanical malfunctions and strange flickers of light are frequent occurrences. Some have even seen shadows moving across the walls, as though someone is walking through the cinema when no one is supposed to be there. The ghostly figure of the former employee is said to be a quiet presence, never causing harm, but always lingering in the background. Visitors report an unsettling feeling when walking through the cinema's halls, as though the spirit is still watching over the building. The unusual occurrences have added to the cinema's mysterious reputation, drawing in those who are curious about the unexplained events that seem to happen every so often. 12. The Newport Odeon, Newport, Wales. The Newport Odeon in Wales is another cinema that is said to be haunted by a former employee. Staff report strange occurrences, such as footsteps echoing through the empty halls and sudden cold spots appearing near the projection room. Some have also witnessed flickering lights or shadowy figures darting across the cinema. The most unsettling reports come from those working late at night, who often feel as if they are being watched by an unseen presence. Though no one knows the full story behind the haunting, it is believed that the ghost of the employee lingers in the cinema, playing tricks on anyone who dares to stay after dark. The strange occurrences have made the Newport Odeon a point of interest for those who enjoy ghost stories and the thrill of the unknown. 13. Swansea Grand Theatre Auditorium, Swansea, Wales. Swansea Grand Theatre has long been associated with eerie happenings, particularly the ghost of a former performer who died tragically on stage. Staff members often report hearing the sound of footsteps or the rustling of clothing when no one is around. Some even claim to have seen the ghostly figure of the performer rehearsing late into the night, practicing dance moves or lines in preparation for a show that never took place. The spirit of the performer is believed to be trapped in the theatre, endlessly reliving the performance they never finished. The theatre's eerie atmosphere is heightened by the occasional sighting of the ghost, who is often seen in the empty auditorium, moving silently through the shadows as if preparing for a show. The presence of the spirit adds to the theatre's mystique, attracting those intrigued by the supernatural. 14. Scala Cinema, Prestatyn, Wales. The Scala Cinema in Prestatyn is haunted by a dark presence that seems to appear whenever the cinema is at its quietest. Staff members have reported flickering lights and strange shadows moving in the projection room, and some have even heard mysterious whispers or footsteps. One particularly eerie report comes from a visitor who saw a shadowy figure lingering at the back of the cinema, watching the film from the darkness. The figure vanished before anyone could get a closer look, leaving behind an unsettling feeling that something or someone was there, watching. The haunting seems to intensify at night when the cinema is most empty, and visitors often feel as though they are not alone. Those brave enough to stay after hours often report feelings of dread, as if the spirit is watching and waiting, forever tied to the cinema. 15. The Gaumont Cinema, Liverpool. The Gaumont Cinema in Liverpool is home to the ghost of a woman who died of a heart attack while playing bingo at the cinema in its early years. The cinema's long history is marked by strange occurrences, particularly in the area where the bingo hall once stood. Staff members have reported hearing faint voices and feeling cold spots near the old bingo tables. Some claim to have seen the woman's ghost wandering the aisles, still searching for her place in the game she never finished. The woman's spirit is believed to be forever tied to the cinema, lingering in the building where she passed away. Visitors often feel an eerie presence, and some even report seeing the ghostly figure of the woman, dressed in the same clothes she wore on the day of her death. Her spirit seems to remain, playing an endless game that only she can understand. These haunted cinemas carry the weight of their dark pasts, where spirits linger as much as the films. Subscribe to Creepy Experience for more chilling tales and supernatural stories. Know any haunted places? Let us know in the comments which spooky locations you'd like us to cover next.